All right, everyone. Welcome to tonight's special tea time Sip4Safety, where Safety Positive Foundation is here to talk to you about our new exciting project. We are here to, of course, raise money for this project, but we want to give you a little bit of background information first before we kind of go into what the project is and all that sort of fun stuff. For those of you who may not know, I wanted to give a little background on me. My name is amyspwilson. I am the CEO/founder of Safety Positive Foundation. We launched Safety Positive Foundation in March 3rd of 2023. And since then, we've really focused on the psychological safety of the blind and low vision community. And over that time, we've realized that there needs to be more access for personal safety training and resources, not just signing up for classes and things like that. So it's pretty much what led us to here to tonight. I have 10 years experience in self-defense, martial arts, both training in it and teaching in it. It's a mixed I have been blind / visually impaired, whichever you like to use the terminology, over 30 years now. And so I bring my lived experience into what we are doing as well. I have a fabulous, wonderful, amazing team that supports me in our methods of madness, as I like to call it, since the crazy top hat that I like to wear. And we have our amazing COO, Nathan Green, on here. And Nathan, I'll let you say a quick hi and anything else you'd like to say at this time.
Hi. No. I'll say a little bit more. Yeah, I'm just really excited for the announcements and plans that we have coming up, and super excited to share those with everybody. And I'm just so pumped about what we have going on. I don't really know if you want a full introduction or anything like that, but yeah, let me know if I need to do that. If you want to,
go for it. Go for it.
Okay, fine. So yes, I am serving currently as the COO, which means essentially right now that means I do whatever Amy and I think needs to be done that to take it off of her plate. So I have about 10 years or so, actually about 12 years now, experience in martial arts, and about 8 of that has been spent doing teaching of some sort. I owned a karate school for a brief period of time, and have been teaching for the last 2 years, teaching self-defense to the blind specifically. And that led to working with Amy, and then working with Safety Positive to really grow and expand our field of opportunities of how we can help people to stay safe in the world. So,
and we also have wonderful volunteers who help us out that we are slowly bringing on, who are helping us with tea times, with spelling and grammar, because I'm epically known for my spelling and grammar errors. But that's why we are grateful for all the volunteers that we have. We also have a wonderful board of directors that really two of them in particular really encouraged me in creating a Safety Positive Foundation. So without that encouragement, we would not be here today. And so I'd like to just acknowledge them. We have Andy Prisco, Ray Wisenhunt, Christopher Tisdale, and Cassandra Wojcik. I hope I said her last name right. And so I don't, Nathan, do you know if they're on at all?
I'm here.
Chris is here. Yes, I was about to say
Yes.
that. I don't. Let's see. I don't think anyone else.
Okay.
Is.
Chris, would you like to say any words from the board?
No, I'm not. I'm not seeing anybody else.
Okay. Chris, would you like to say any words?
Hello and welcome to Sip4Safety.
Okay. Chris is known for being a man of a few words, so that's okay. I'll take up the rest of the time. So
Yes, you will.
So
is he?
I know, right? In this space, yes. Now, Safety Positive Foundation really, we, as I said, we are in the business of problem solving the personal safety needs of the blind community. Our ultimate goal is to be the central hub of as many personal safety training services and resources for the blind and low vision community. So if there's a resource out there when it comes to personal safety, we want to know about it, or we're already going to know about it. Whether it's safety education, whether it's hands-on self-defense, believe me, this year alone, we have learned about so many different programs, it would probably make your head spin. And we are really looking forward to bringing that to you all. Now, one of the things that is really hard for me to talk about, because one of the things that for me is that's part of my backstory is I am a domestic violence survivor. I've heard, and I share this with people. I share my story, and because I know that in our, in the blind community, there are other survivors out there, not just domestic violence survivors, but physical assaults, and things like that. And so I asked somebody to come on. They had found us some statistics, and it's one of those things I'm working on getting more comfortable with it. And in true safety positive fashion, we generally want to keep things positive around here, but to really get to the to the core of how big is this problem, we really got to look at the stats. We have to look at the facts. And so I asked Josh to come on and to share these stats with you. I'm going to warn you, these stats are not could be triggering. And so please take some deep breaths, have your tea ready, and we will be sharing with you the positive solution, because I promise you we've got one. It's the whole reason we're here. But we've got to talk about the facts as far as what's really going on out there, and why this resource that we're talking about is so vital to our community. It's truly necessary. And so with that in mind, I will stop talking for a while, and I will let Josh take it over. Josh, if you want, you can kind of tell people a little bit about yourself and why you're the man for the job on giving these stats, because I'm so grateful that you were able to find these, because I know I certainly was struggling to be able to find these types of statistics.
Yeah. Everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. Hi, my name is Joshua Goff. I am a therapist here in St. Louis, and I am also a professor of psychology at Maryville University here in St. Louis. In my spare time, I do various volunteer and consulting work with various disability rights organizations, again, here in St. Louis. What we're going to be talking about here is a lot of pretty negative statistics. I'm kind of, as Amy said, here to be the fun police. And after I explain a lot of this, Amy's going to talk more about things like defense training, advocacy, assertiveness training, and various other things that may go to help mitigate these numbers. And again, if at the end, after I've explained a lot of these numbers, if you personally have questions about the numbers or where these numbers came from or how these numbers can potentially be impacted, I'm happy to answer that information. To start with, most of all this data that I've compiled, all of it is publicly available. Much of it comes from the CDC. Some of this comes from different other government institutes. There's the Office of Victims of Violence. That's another government institution. There's also been several collegiate studies done on these, and so I'll be giving the numbers from a lot of those as well. I'm not reading from any specific study at this moment. I've just compiled all these numbers. So everything you're going to hear today is aggregate data. So this is just a summary of what I have compiled for you. So to start with, if we just look at the nature of interpartner violence and sexual abuse, we already know that in general, women are twice as likely to experience any of this, just in general, based on reported cases. So, and that's another important thing to keep in mind, is everything I'm going to read is based on reported cases. It is believed, and it is mentioned in each one of these studies that I'm presenting, all of the data is likely a lot higher than what is present. Again, this is just based on the reported information. So with that in mind, we know women are twice as likely to experience all of these forms of abuse on a lifetime prevalence. However, women with disabilities, they are actually a twice as higher rate to the general population. So if women are more likely to receive interpartner violence, women with disabilities, that's even higher. For men, it's about 1.5 times higher. So again, based on reported data. Some numbers here I'm about to read, they sound small, but again, these are reports. So compared to individuals within the general population, individuals with a disability, they're about 1% higher to experience rape. For sexual violence that is not rape, they are likely to about 2.5 times more likely. 4 to 5 times more likely to experience physical violence. They are about 3 to 5% more likely to experience stalking. They are between 13 and 15% more likely to experience psychological aggression. So this would be something like verbal abuse, gaslighting, being told negative things about yourself, general humiliation. For men, that number is actually a little bit higher. That number instead of being 13 to 15, for men, that jumps from 17 to 22% for the psychological abuse. And for men with physical abuse, again, that number is not 4 to 6. It is actually closer to 5 to 7. If we look at the data from the Spectrum Institute of Disability and Abuse Project, we found that 70% of individuals with disability, they experience interpartner violence on a regular basis from either an intimate partner, a family member, caregiver, acquaintance, and often even a stranger. They saw that about almost 90% experienced verbal or emotional abuse. About half experienced physical. Again, almost 45% experienced sexual abuse. 37.4% experienced neglect. And just almost a third experienced financial abuse. And this is just for sexually related crimes. Now, if we expand this amount to just talking about crime in general, the Department of Justice found that that between 2017 and 2020, individuals with disabilities were 26% more likely to experience non-fatal violent crime, even though the disability community only accounts for 12% of the general population. So again, 12% of the general population is receiving 26% of non-fatal violent crime. If we expand this again, we see rate of victimization of individuals with disability jumps to 46.2 per 1,000 individuals of age 12 or older. For the general population, that number is only 12.3 per 1,000 individuals 12 or older. So again, a little over almost 4 times more likely. When it comes to things like robbery, 33%. When we talk about for individuals with cognitive impairments, we see it's 83.3 per 1,000 individuals. So again, individuals with cognitive impairments, they are far more likely. And we see that 19% of rapes and sexual assaults against persons with disabilities were reported by police compared to 36% of the general population. So almost half of the reporting from the general population. This all is important in relation to, in all of this information, due to other statistics, including the National Institute of Mental Health, which found that individuals with disability were about 70% less likely to report a sexual act that was unwanted due to fear that it may be their only sexual encounter. That was a lovely, horrifying statistic that was reported. And again, we see individuals with disabilities, according to the Victims with Disabilities section of the Government Department of Victims of Crime, they found that individuals with disabilities were again twice as likely to be the victim of a crime and were less likely to report it, again showing that about a third likely to report compared to the general population. If we compare those numbers to the same numbers that are exhibited by the general population, we see that with women in the general population, instances of things like rape and violent sexual crime is about 1 in 3. So again, for individuals with disability, this is much higher. For individuals who experience, when we talk about just men, the rate of sexual crime reported by men puts the number at about 1 in 7. Again, this rate is higher for the individuals with disabilities. So one of the things that is highlighted in most of these studies is that repeatedly, the disability community is less likely to report. And that's a big issue here because, again, these numbers are all based on reports. So the numbers that I'm citing here today are likely somewhere between 33% to 33 to 50% higher than what is actually available. If we look at this in terms of a cultural standpoint, a lot of this can be traced back to how individuals, specifically young people with disability, are treated in the general population. Now, everyone in this room, in this chat room, you've all learned how to self-advocate. You know how to stick up for yourself. You know how to ask for things you want. But if you think back to when you're younger, many people within the disability community are brought up in a culture of compliance and docile behavior. Because if we are not taught to be compliant, we are less likely to receive assistance. We see this in schools. We see this when working with government institutions. And we see this when having to navigate the general world. If you're not a very polite person, you might not be told when your bus stop is arriving. So this is where Amy's organization comes in. We see that if individuals are in a place where they feel like they can advocate for themselves, they can report, they can speak in an assertive nature, then they are more likely to report negative, unwanted incidences. And so that actually makes it more likely for them to either avoid the experience entirely, or at the very least, perpetrators of these experiences are more likely to actually receive punishment for their crime. Uh, that's the basic general breakdown of these statistics. So yeah, before I turn things back over to Amy, does anybody have any questions about these statistics or what they mean or where they came from or anything like that?
I was about to say the same thing, but yeah, because that's quite a lot to process.
It's a lot to process.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If
anybody needs to take a cleansing breath.
And yeah, if anybody has any questions, like I say, I'm here, so ask away.
Yeah.
Okay. If there are no questions, I'm going to turn this back over to Amy. There you go.
Okay. And I do know from what Josh has shared, when I read over those, in my experience. Oh, Preston has a question. Preston.
Hey, Preston.
Sorry, I was trying to raise my hand, but then my phone went weird. I was just curious, and sorry that I was paying attention, but I don't know if I might have missed anything about it. But was there any information you found or anything about like queer disabled individuals, like statistics
Yes.
on that?
So actually in preparing for this, when it comes to queer individuals with disabilities, institutions such as the Trevor Project and other similar organizations, they found again that when you look at queer individuals just by themselves are more likely to be victims of a crime, again, compared to the general population. It's same with sexual crimes. But when you again tack on disability, that number actually gets higher. There hasn't been any studies, anything reputable I can find that relates to queer disabled individuals, even though I know there is a huge overlap on that Venn diagram. However, if you do a statistical analysis and you just run a simple ANOVA on the numbers from disability data and the numbers from a lot of the queer data, we essentially get back to it's exactly what you think it is. Individuals who are within the queer and disability spaces, yes, they do receive a much higher degree of traditional crime, as well as a much higher degree of sexual crime.
Okay.
And the only thing I will say that is a positive for that dual community is the queer community does have a very high population of advocacy groups, and whereas the disability space is taught to, kind of roll with it and be compliant, the queer community does not have that same behavior. And so even if individuals in the queer community and disability community are less likely to speak up, there are others within that space that are more likely to advocate for them. And so it's easier for them to get some help in terms of speaking up. But they're, again, that now you're getting into discussions of how law enforcement treats that community. And now we're back to where we were to start.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else with a question? You can feel free to unmute yourself or raise your hand.
I have no questions, just a comment that although, I don't think I've ever read the statistics, I think a lot of us could say, and I don't want to speak for other people, but I know for myself, I feel almost validated in that feeling of, I think we've all kind of had that feeling of why me, or what makes me different. And reading numbers actually kind of feels a little bit more like, I don't want to say justifiable in any way, right? Just that it's not surprising, as concerning as it is.
Yeah.
Well, and to that, I would like to say it's based on the numbers. It's less about, it sounds really ugly to say it. It's less about you. Like, it's not something that's happening specifically because of you. It has more to do with the perpetrator and how the perpetrator interprets the situation. And
Right, exactly. Less of
yeah,
like, what did I do to deserve this, as much as, okay, it was more of a like a targeted thing, so to speak, or I just fall in that category of more likely, rather than internalizing that and taking it as on a personal level, something that is
exactly.
so personal to so many people.
And that's a really important thing to bring up, is this is never anything you or anyone personally did. This is another human being took advantage of a situation. It's not something you did.
And the other thing in that is that I think that's important is when we think about, you know, crimes against the disabled, we don't think about crimes being done against us, you know, with it being people in our own disabled community, because that happens too.
Yeah, and I was going to ask about statistics on that, actually, if there's any data that shares like how likely is the perpetrator to be someone who is also disabled. And I think that's an important question, because it goes back to like the way we were taught. We weren't really taught a lot about consent because we were taught to comply.
So when I actually did look for this data, there isn't a lot of data on this particular topic when you look at disability against the other disabled person. And so those numbers are spurious at best. Most of the data that is out there currently, it looks specifically at the disability community versus the general population. Now, I will happily look for those numbers to see if I can still find something a little more reputable, and I'm happy to send that along, and write up something for Amy to send to you so you can have better data on it. But as it currently exists, those studies are very few and far between.
Yeah, I don't feel like anybody's really actively pursuing that kind of information. So, who just raised their hand? My voiceover.
I'm sorry. This is Laura.
Oh, Laura. Hi, Laura. Yeah.
Hi, Amy. I just wanted to know if you all were familiar with the RAIN report that the NFB commissioned a couple of years ago, as well as the special report that they did, because while it wasn't specific around disabled on disabled, it did point to some real specific needs in the blind community around the need for consent, around the conversations around power dynamics and imbalances. And they were really well written up, and there's a lot of good statistics there. So I just wanted to point you in that direction if you weren't aware of it.
I will have to get my hands on that. I did not realize that there was some stats on that. I knew of the consent and power dynamic, but I did not realize there was actual stats on. So
I just put it in the chat for you.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I will be able to go back and look on that. But yeah, I'm familiar with the consent and the power dynamic. It's one of the reasons we offer one of the trainings that we do.
Yeah, it's just that they actually have stats on specifically on the blind community and the needs for conversations around that. It really is, there's stats that will help fund this kind of work and the projects you're working on. So definitely good information in there.
Excellent. Good to know. Any other questions on statistics before we move on? Or comments? Questions, comments, concerns?
Amy, this is Matt. May I ask a question?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't remember. There's so much information that has been disheartening, unfortunately. It's just been a lot. Was there any information given on a suicide rate, a percentage based upon blind, visually impaired population compared to the overall suicide rate, percentage based on that?
So yeah, that is absolutely data I can get for you. That's pretty easy to find. It is not part of this data set that I was presenting today, only because the data I was presenting today had specifically to do with sexual violence and crime. But
Yes.
that is absolutely data I can get for you.
And the reasoning I was curious on it is the possibilities. Obviously that's all such a wide spectrum of possibilities on it, but just as far as the mental and physical, psychological, everything that could be possible, overwhelming cases on things. Just curiosity wise, I didn't know if that was a data presentation that could be, it's just something that could be found easily, or something that could be compared just as far as a general note, just to give more of a general idea of something of a baseline.
Yes, I actually, I have it right in front of me. I just found it.
Okay.
Because you're a ninja like that.
I do that. It's looking like, if you just look at visual impairment, the rate is not much higher than the general population. It looks like, let's see. Yeah, if you break it down and you look at men versus women, the rate of suicide for the visually impaired community appears to be, let's see, at peak points of the year. So again, if you're looking at peak suicide rate per year, which appears to be around early spring is usually when that occurs, we see that the suicide rate goes to 39.3 for the blind community. And hold on, I just had it in front of me. Yeah, 39.3 for the blind community and 26.6 for the visually impaired community. So that is the general rate there. Now, if you compare this to the general population appears to be significantly lower, looking about 18%. And this is for those suffering from mental illness or who have been just in a bad way, in victims of mental illness, abuse, things like that.
Yes.
So Josh, I'm sorry, you said 39.3 and 26 per
Yes.
what? What is that, per thousand or per what? What's the rate then?
Oh, no, that's percent.
Oh, percent. Okay.
Yes, and again, the study I found from the National Institute of Mental is from the National Institute of Mental Health. So it's looking at individuals suffering from mental illness.
Oh.
So for individuals suffering from mental illness, the suicide rate for individuals with visual impairment and who are blind, it is significant. It's pretty significant. It's high.
but it's associated with being diagnosed with other mental health disorders.
Yes.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But again, people who are diagnosed with mental health disorders also have a high rate of victimization of sexual crime. So it all kind of loops back together.
Yes. So the unfortunate, I mean, obviously not a, I mean, unfortunate correlation of the possibilities of an increase of, obviously increases of percentages based upon the horrible numbers that have been, and percentages that have been presented about the possibilities of increased illnesses and so on, and unfortunate suicide rates because of the dramatic negatives that have, that are there.
Yes, and this is further impacted by the fact that individuals, especially in the low vision and blind community, it's actually a lot harder for them to get any kind of resource or service, because in order to get resource or services for things like interpartner violence, suicide assessment and risk, things of that nature, you kind of have to have transportation. You need to be able to get somewhere. So yeah, it's a lot of in some cities, for especially things like domestic violence or interpartner violence, there's a lot of organizations that will actually come and pick you up at home, but those organizations are very few and far between, and they're only available in certain cities. So many organizations take the stance of, we'll help you we'll do everything we can to help you, but you have to get here on your own. And if your abuser is your primary mode of transportation, that's out the window.
Yep. It absolutely is. And that's what makes our solution so beautiful. All right. Any other questions? Okay. If you all have questions for Josh, if Josh is willing, I can give you, I can provide contact information to connect with him. He's great. I'm still so privileged that he was willing to come on here and share this these different things with us. It's hard for me, like I said, as a survivor. Becca, you're like, I feel validated, like I'm not crazy. It's kind of, but like it, whenever I first read it, I physically wanted to throw up, because I know in all the stories that I've heard from people in the years that I've been teaching self-defense, in just about every class, I have somebody coming forward and sharing their story with me. And a majority of that time, I'd say 90% of the time, they've told me, I've never told anybody. I've never reported it. So yeah, Josh is exactly right. We have a thing in this community of where we're not reporting it for a variety of different reasons. I know I had my reasons for the things that happened with me. Whether it's the cops don't want to work with the blind person, or this, that, or the other. I mean, there's a whole smorgasbord, and that's one of the reasons that I'm so very passionate about making sure that we are providing the education to make people more comfortable and to de-escalate their fears, to where we are reporting these things, to where we are holding people accountable on this type of stuff, because it's quite frankly, it's bullshit. We, as blind people, we're allowed to be treated with dignity and respect. and that's the whole goal. Well, it's one of the many goals in Safety Positive Foundation. We want to do it with a positive message. I've seen too many programs to where they want to fear monger you and get you scared. And I was like, no, screw that. No, Safety Positive, we're coming in with a positive message. And that has pretty much been our whole thing from the beginning. I don't believe in scaring you. I mean, we're already scared. No, let's bring the hope. Let's bring the resources and the training and de-escalate the fears. That's what it's all about. So okay, I'm getting excited here. All right. Now with the solution, as I've been alluding to in this, and the talking about the 24/7 access to training and services. Now what are we talking about here? Let me take a deep breath. Let me get a drink of tea real quick. Hold on 1 second. All right, had to sit my way for safety here. Okay, so our goal with raising this money, because it's essentially gonna, we're looking to raise $2,500 here, and this is paying for the platform we're gonna use for the year for our first year of service. This is paying for us to put all the finishing touches on the videos, to put all the stuff in. We're not even paying for our time. Me and Nathan aren't getting paid for this. We're putting our time and energy into it because we are passionate to make sure that our fellow community is getting this training. So, all the work and whatnot, like it's because we care. We're asking for this money because we need it to make the software and all the stuff do the go-go juice and vroom vroom. So what does it actually do? So we are launching this project. We are calling it the Safety Positive Subscription Guide. We don't believe in being the experts. You're never going to hear one of my team saying, I'm an expert. And if you do, you tell me, I'm going to kick their butt. Probably not, but I'm going to give them a good scolding. But we believe in being your guide on your personal safety journey, because your personal safety, it's a journey. It's not a destination. You don't just get there and go, okay, I'm good. I've got all the education I need, and that's it. This is a lifelong journey that you are on. It's going to take regular maintenance. It's just like your cane. It's like your phone. It needs regular maintenance. It needs software updates. You're going to have to clean it from time to time. It needs repairs, just like your personal safety. It's something you have to invest in, and that's exactly what we're doing with this Safety Positive Subscription Guide. Now, what is going to go into this guide, you might ask? Whew, we've been packing. We're going to be packing a lot into this. So we have 3 different layers, because essentially the subscription guide is going to be well, actually it's 4 different layers. One is our free community. Anybody can join in, anybody can have access to it. You can come in, you can ask personal safety questions. You will be able to get the Zoom link for all the tea time events. You'll get notifications of when we do any of our verbal craft trainings, when we do in-person events anywhere in the country. And all of this is going to be housed within the Mighty Network. I don't know if you're familiar with the Mighty Network, but it is an app you can download on your phone, and it's a website that you can go to on your desktop. So whether you are, somebody who really loves being on a website, on a computer, you've got access to it through your computer. I personally am one of those. I love a good app, and so I've got it on my phone. But you've got choices as far as that goes, and that's one of the things that we love in Safety Positive Foundation. We love making sure that you have choices when it comes to your personal safety, and that's one of the other reasons that we have this subscription guide, to make sure that you have choices when it comes to your personal safety. Now, as I said, there's the free level, as far as you're going to get all the information of when we're doing stuff, and it's going to pop up and let you know things if you choose to turn on your notifications. That's again your choice. Now, there is the $10 a month level that you can subscribe to. Now, what this does is it gets you access to the recordings every week, and we're going to start recording all the weekly tea times. So you'll have access to those. We've had multiple people ask me over this year, are you going to record them? Are you going to record them? And I have fought it every step of the way, but we're finally going to offer them, because we realize that it's a great resource and there's tons of information on there. We've had lots of great speakers. We had Good Maps, we've had Orcam, we've had the Revision Fitness, Tyler Marin on there. I've lost count of how many speakers we've had. And so if we can have it to where people can have access to those recordings, I mean, you can watch them anytime, anywhere. It's a beautiful thing. Not only that, you will have access to our Safety Positive Fundamentals course, which is a training that we developed to get you to go from a reactive mindset about your personal safety to a proactive mindset. So again, we already know in the blind community, it's not a matter of if certain things are going to happen. It's a matter of when. So let's be proactive. Let's switch our mindset to start doing those things. Whether you want to do it every day, whether you want to do it once a week, Safety Positive is here to guide you in figuring out what that looks like for you. But the fundamentals help you to switch your mind to gear up for that shift as far as that goes. We are also going to have yoga videos in there. We're going to have other safety education information in there. We're going to have worksheets in there for you to work through, like for families, with accompanied like videos, tons and tons of stuff packed in on this $10 level. Pretty much as I can, as much as Nathan and the team's going to let me try to cram in there until they say mercy. That's how much stuff we're gonna put into that particular level. Now, for our next level, for the $25 a month level, is our and our $10 a month level is our School of Hard Knocks level, because our levels match up with our levels of learning, which is concept we teach within our Safety Positive Foundation, because we understand that not everybody is ready to go be a martial arts expert and throw people around. And we want people to be comfortable with that. It's okay. Again, this is a journey. And, if you want to, take the different steps and move up the ladder, it's all good. And again, we like to give choices. I don't know if you're getting that theme, but we really like choices. Now, our $25 level is our fancy fighter level. And this level really focuses and drills down on that psychological safety aspect. And to kick it off is our verbal craft training. Our verbal craft training is the gold star type of training, to where it helps to it helps you to negotiate those stressful situations in life when people are coming up and grabbing instead of asking, when people aren't wanting to accommodate you, when you are maybe trying to negotiate with, maybe it's friends and family on different things that you might need or want when it comes to your personal safety needs. I know I have been using this for over a year in my personal life and my professional life, and it's changed my life. I wish I would have learned about this a long time ago. Fortunately, it's been, created within the last, I think, 5 years. And I'm so grateful to Andy Prisco who brought it to us from Jumpstart Mastery. But he learned about the needs of the blind community and was like, oh yeah, because verbal craft was actually created as a crisis de-escalation communication training for people who work in like mental health facilities. And he goes out and teaches it to people who work at police departments, mental health institutions, those sorts of things, and was just floored when he heard stories from the blind community and was like, oh no, you need this. So and also in our fancy fighter level is a verbal craft club where once a month we're going to hold space to where you can come in and practice your verbal craft, because we don't want to just teach you it and be like, all right, you took the 1 8-hour training. We wish you the best of luck, have fun with that. We're not going to give you anybody to practice with. We want to make sure that you're receiving that ongoing, practice and training with somebody. You get, of course, there's going to be a team member there, and you get to hang out with other people who are practicing it too. Like, you could have a situation where you're like, okay, I tried verbal craft, or maybe there's a situation I really want to use verbal craft in, but I'm not sure how to language it. We got you covered. The bonus of the different levels is, so when you get the fancy fighter level, you also get the lower level and all of its wonderful packages as well. And then our top level, which is, well, I don't want to say it's our top level because we have another level on top of it, but we haven't created a package for it yet. But at our $50 level, at our warrior level, this is our hands-on training level, because we've been saying all year long, we're gonna offer hands-on in 2024. We're gonna offer hands-on in 2024. It is upon us. 2024 is like, a little over a month away. And as promised, we're going to be offering hands-on training. Now, the thing that myself, Nathan, the team, we've realized is a lot of the hands-on stuff that, and I've worked for them. Some of y'all know this. I hated doing okay, well, if we come, we got to charge you, this ridiculous amount, for training. I would rather, have you pay a little bit each month and piece it out that way. So that way, and ideally with this also is, if you're paying $50 a month for our first year of this subscription guide, if me, Nathan, one of our instructors who teaches any of our self-defense stuff, as long as you can get there, you can take the class. It's going to cost you nothing as long as you're paying your $50 a month. That is a steal. I'm just throwing that out there, because I know in the past, other organizations have wanted to charge $1,000, $3,000, just crazy amounts for training. and that's not what we're looking for here. So, you know, if we show up at a convention per se, and we're offering something, and you're paying at that $50 level, yep, guess you get to just waltz right in because you're already paid at that particular level. And again, if you're paying at the warrior level of $50, you automatically get the lower levels all included at that price. This is, of course, our introductory offer on all this, but this is what we're essentially looking at with our subscription guide. You get, you know, the team in there to be able to talk to you, work through stuff with you. On top of it, if you can't tell already, we are passionate about, you know, problem solving your personal safety needs. And I made the boss decision that if you donate, you know, 120 today, then you're going to get the early bird access to our School of Hard Knocks level. If you donate 300 today, you're going to get early access to our Fancy Fighter level. The $600 level, you're going to get early access, which is awesome. I can tell you that I know I'm eager of starting to offer hands-on stuff as soon as possible. We're already got dates on the calendar in the new year. So, all that stuff will be loaded up into the Mighty Network. Now, I know some of you might be thinking at this point, wait a minute, Mighty Network, it's a whole new thing. I got to learn a whole new deal. Don't worry. I will be making videos on our YouTube channel for you to learn how to navigate it, set it up, you know, set up an account, how to maneuver in there and figure all those things out. Because I know when it comes to learning new platforms, it can be overwhelming, especially when you're using screen readers and things to that effect. So we want to make you feel psychologically safe in coming in and using a new platform. I truly feel that this is the start of something beautiful. What the things that I've included into this is just the start. I can tell you right now, our team has got a laundry list of things we want to put into this subscription guide. We're not just stopping here. I can tell you probably in 6 months, we're going to have probably 5 more things at our School of Hard Knocks level, at that $10 level. We're probably going to have 2 or 3 more things at our Fancy Fighter level. And, you know, for our Warrior level, I know that Nathan and we are going to be offering pepper spray training starting in January. That's the first thing that we're going to be offering, which has never been done before, where blind people are teaching other blind people, unless I'm mistaken, and somebody can full on correct me. But from my understanding, it's been a lot of, we're going to teach you how to break body parts, and not everybody's comfortable breaking body parts. And so again, we want to make sure that people have choices when it comes to their personal safety. So yes, we will be teaching the breaking body parts stuff too down the road. We've got more programs coming to you, but to kick us off, we will be offering the pepper spray training as you know, starting in the new year. So and this is what we are raising the money for, because we have worked hard this year to try to schedule trainings, hold space for them. And, you know, sometimes people's schedules don't work out for this reason or that. And with some of our trainings, like our safety positive fundamentals, we come to realize we can just make them videos. We don't have to set up a certain thing. And then that way people can access it 24/7. If you're up at 2 a.m. and you need a refresher on a certain section out of the fundamentals, it's right there for you. You don't got to schedule a thing with us, and we want to pack in as many things as possible. We want to definitely keep the cost down as possible, and this is why the fundraising part is so essential for us. But this is pretty much what our safety positive guide is going to be in the new year. So as I said, I just know that it's going to help people in so many ways that I can barely stand it, because there needs to be more access to personal safety training for our community. As the stats say, we got some troubles out there, and education is the number one way, in my opinion, to solve it. And the guide is the way. So with that in mind, I'll take some questions to see if anybody has questions on any of the things that I said.
This is Preston. So for those who may not be able to donate today, when does the fundraiser end?
You know what? I will run it as long as I need to. Essentially, Giving Tuesday is like one day, but I will take money as long as people are giving it.
Okay.
Amy, this is Matt.
Yes, Matt.
I was going to just make I just wanted to let people know, I don't know who or who hasn't in this session by any means of this tea time, of all the people here. If you have not taken any of the fundamental or verbal craft, I was very grateful to be able to take the sessions, and it blew my mind. I'm recently blind within the last 3 years, and absolutely blew my mind. And so any chance to take these abilities to learn from these experiences, each time you take them, I think you would absolutely learn something new, and I can't wait to try it again, because each time you do it will be absolutely phenomenal for each time. Because excuse me again, I'm sorry repeating myself, it's just exciting. Because each time you're going to be able to learn something new with even the people that you're with, just the experiences. And I'm very grateful for Amy and I'm sorry, I'm brain dead right now. I'm so excited. Nathan, sorry, I'm that brain dead right now. Amy and Nathan, and I'm so amazed with the instruction they both have given, that it really taught me a lot. And everything I've learned from Amy and Nathan, along with so many of everybody else that I've been with in the tea times and able to communicate with, it's just absolutely been amazing. And I'm very grateful in so many ways. And so those two courses automatically on their own are beyond worth it. So if you've not had a chance to do so, I highly recommend it, because of what it has offered me, and definitely the positive mentality of being able to say, oh my gosh, what I've learned. So I just wanted to take a minute to give my 2 cents on that part, because it is so amazing. And with what's going on for the new year 2024, Safety Positive Foundation, safety positive is absolutely true on the name, because of how I feel now, being so much more positive, just absolutely phenomenal. So many ways of what I have learned because of going into things. I mean, just because it's a small little thing, at first you don't think about it, that it's not a big deal, but so many things I've learned from a such thing as verbal craft training. You don't even think about it, but then after you're done, you're like, oh my gosh, these little things are so a big deal and brighten your eyes so much. And then when you're done and you look at all the people that have helped you, it's just pouring down the drain, and it's absolutely amazing. And I'm very, very grateful for everybody that I've been able to work with. So if you've not taken the chance, if you've not been able to do such things and maybe consider it, I highly recommend definitely kind of looking into it.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that feedback / testimonial.
Oh, I have so many testimonies. I mean, from the Safety Positive Foundation, I have a smile on my face I never thought I'd be able to get again. I'm dead serious. All the people a lot of the people on this call that I've been able to be on calls with, I am very grateful to be able to be positive again for what it's offered. And again, I'm sorry for being brain dead a little bit. It's been a long day, but Nathan, I'm very, very, very sorry for forgetting your name right now.
It's not a problem, Matt. I'm bad with names myself.
He has days too where he can't remember people's names either. So, and I have that problem too. Any other questions, comments? I'll leave the concerns or emotional outbursts for the end. So it sounds like everybody's ready to just buy in at the warrior level, then, is what I'm hearing. You know, like that's where everybody's at.
I think you did such a fantastic job, presenting. Nobody has any questions. It's great.
Excellent. I like hearing I did a good job on the presenting part. But yeah, I just, everything that I've heard this year from our people, at tea time, that we've presented at different conventions, and just listening to people, I felt like this was the way to go. Because we can hold space for trainings like our verbal craft class. That's always going to be done via Zoom. You're always going to have, me, Nathan, or Ray as the instructor. We'll probably bring on other instructors as we get busier, but we'll probably have some sort of videos to refresh you on what certain things are, or something to that effect. But and of course our hands-on stuff is always in person. But as much information as we can give you that you can learn on your own, that's huge for me, because I know that what's currently out there is sort of limited, or out of date, and that's that's concerning for me, especially when I hear young people talking about it, and I really want our community to become more proactive. Like I said in the beginning, we are worth being treated with dignity and respect, and it's about time we have faith in ourselves, because we need to. It's about, it's a life or death thing, to be quite honest. Whether it's our physical bodies or our mental states, you can mentally die. you can just sit there in a house. I've kind of said there's people that I've met in life where they have, they're either playing the game of life or they've folded their cards. And I don't know if you've ever met people like that. And I want people in our blind community that are playing their game, playing the cards they're dealt. And it's, if not, I don't want them playing for me. I want them playing for themselves. Because it really does come down to your personal safety, your mindset. And whether you're young or old or anything in between, I will speak that message till I'm buried 6 feet under, pretty much. It's pretty much why I decided I could, run a non-for-profit. I'm like, yep, could I do this, and not get paid? Absolutely. Pay is good, but I'm very passionate about making sure that the blind community gets this type of training and education. And I think that our safety positive guide is a huge piece of that. So I'm glad that everybody is on board with my method of my madness. I know that the team was like, oh yeah, hell yes, let's do it. So I'm glad that you all are receptive as well, because it takes it takes a lot of people talking about it to help spread the word. And that's exactly what I'm going to need when we get this thing all put together and ready to launch, which we're planning on doing in the very early in the new year. If it's not January 1st, it will be in the very early new year. So we don't have a exact launch date yet, but it's a work in progress. Another one of our famous safety positive concepts. So, but anyhow, I don't. If you all would like to donate to our cause, I of course have been hitting you all up with I hit you up with the donation link yesterday. There is the donation link on my Facebook page. There is the donation link on our website. If you do not have the means to donate right now, I completely understand. Just send me a text saying, hey, I'm going to pledge to donate this amount. It just lets me know that we are getting closer to our goal. And that helps me to know that we are getting there. And I don't have to be running around with my Mad Hatter hat and asking people for money on this particular project, as far as that goes. But either way, we're still moving forward with this project, whether we hit our goal or not. It's totally happening. So, but if you all don't have questions, I'm not gonna keep you, but I guess now we can go to the questions, comments, concerns, or emotional outburst portion of the show. And I think at this point, I'm going to turn off the recording